Welcome to Cookies and Milk with Friends. My name is Taal Hasak-Lowy, and I am the Executive Director of Friends of the Children Chicago. A bit about Friends of the Children. We are a mentoring organization. I like to say that we are a mentoring organization on steroids. There's a few things that make us unique. First, it's who we serve. We intentionally identify the children and families facing the hardest lives, and then we do outreach to bring those children in and families into our program. We start working with children when they're in kindergarten, and then we make a commitment to standing by their side for 12 and a half years, no matter what. We're involved in every facet of a child's life, in school, at home, in the community. We also work really closely with parents and caregivers. We often use the term caregivers because many of our children do not live with their biological parents. And the parents and caregivers are our partners, and we have family and community resource specialists on staff to help them meet their needs as well. We are part of a national network that's been around for 30 years, and we have proven results. 92% of the kids that go through our program go on to enroll in post-secondary education, enlist in the military, or enter full-time employment. And most importantly, we don't work with volunteer mentors. We have full-time, trained, salaried professional mentors. And it is my absolute pleasure that you all are here today to meet one of our rock star professional mentors. But before we do, I want to read you all a quote, because if I cite research, you're going to become even more impressed by our work. So this is from the Search Institute. And they say that after decades of forming hypotheses, conducting surveys, crafting and rewriting definitions, analyzing data, and writing journal articles, their researchers and practitioners have arrived at a surprisingly simple conclusion. Nothing has more impact in the life of a child than a positive relationship. So, without further ado, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce you all to Jourdan Ward, one of our professional mentors. Welcome, Jourdan.
Thank you, Taal. Thank you. I appreciate it. Like Taal said, I'm a professional mentor here with Friends of the Children. My name is Jourdan Ward. And speaking of positive relationships, I had a positive relationship with a mentor when I was 7 years old. And because of that, I got into this line of work for the last 15 years. I've been a professional mentor in different facets in nonprofit organizations, as well as within CPS schools and alternative schools. So I know the impact of having someone positive in your life for a consistent amount of time. And I was drawn to this organization. I saw out of all the nonprofit organizations or mentor organizations that the commitment for 12 and a half years being with a child for no matter what, that drew me automatically to this organization, and having the opportunity to be inside of school and outside of school, working with the community and a family was a no-brainer. And so that was drawing me to working with Friends with Children and just being a mentor in the city of Chicago. I'm a born and raised Southsider, born and raised, and just to work in my own community is a blessing. All of my kids that I serve live about 10, 15 minutes away from me, and it's a beautiful thing. So working with Friends of the Children it's a great organization, and the impact that it has on the community does wonders.
Thank you, Jourdan. So Jourdan works with a roster of 8 boys. He spends 3 to 4 hours a week individually with each child. Just to be clear, we don't guarantee that children are going to have the same mentor over the course of the 12 and a half years, but we promise that we're going to stay by their side. Jourdan has been with us almost 3 years, correct, Jourdan? We're coming up on the 3-year anniversary.
Correct.
We
Correct.
expect that most kids will have 2 to 3 mentors. COVID threw our numbers off a little bit over the course of their stay. So our job is to take good care of the professional mentors so they can take good care of the families they serve. So again, Jourdan has a roster of 8 boys. We're going to talk about 2 boys on his roster today, Bronte and Emmett. Those aren't their real names, but those are the code names we'll use for them to protect their privacy. Before Jourdan shares their stories, I want to remind you that we're talking about real people, right? And we're sharing private information about them so that you can understand who the children and families that we serve are and the work that Jourdan and our team does to support the families. But I ask that you all really treat this information with dignity for Emmett, for Bronte, and for their families. It is a challenging thing, right? To cross the line between what I call poverty porn and really understanding the challenges that families live. And so hopefully we're writing that right, walking that right line. So families cannot sign up for our program, right? Most programs are built for those that want to help themselves. So if you are willing to sign up and do all of the right things, you can come into our program. But the families that are really struggling, the families that don't trust people and systems, people aren't supporting them, but they're the ones that need the most support. And so that's what we do. We do outreach through partner organizations, through the schools, through DCFS, the foster care system, through the gun violence intervention programs, UCAN, Institute for Nonviolence, CRED, and through select daycares to do outreach, to identify those children and families that are facing the greatest hardship. And then our program team, Jourdan and his colleagues, go out there to build a relationship, to gain the trust of that parent or caregiver so that they trust us, so they build a relationship with us and trust us and voluntarily enroll their child in our program. So Bronte was, we'll start with him. Bronte was referred to us by one of our partner organizations, Little Angels Learning Centers in Englewood. And he was referred to us because he has significant challenges in his life. His father's been incarcerated for life, and his mother is a single mom of 5 children. Jourdan, before we get into his life, can you just tell us, who is Bronte? Like, tell us a little bit about him. What does he like to do? And how old is he?
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Well, Bronte is a very fun and engaging young man. He's likes so many things, but the main thing that he likes to do is sports, and not just any sport like a basketball or football. It's actually soccer. His favorite player is Ronaldo. He likes to spend time with his team of support and another kid that's in this program, as well as a manager in this program. They bond off of pure soccer, pure soccer. Um, he likes to draw. He likes to shop anytime that we can go to a dollar store or a toy store, but he doesn't, his mindset, he doesn't have the mindset of want to shop for himself. Again, like Taal said, he has 4 siblings and they're all young ladies. They're all sisters, and he's the oldest, and he likes to shop for his sisters. He likes to buy things for his sisters, and just support them. He is the boy, and unfortunately, he's the only man inside the household. But being all those challenges that he faces, you would never tell what he's going through. Um, he just brings joy every time that he gets the chance to be with me, and he likes to learn. At times, it is challenging because I can't
Hold
see
on. Well,
him
I'm gonna,
quite consistently because of the challenges that his mom faces. But he is a boy that's just love to engage.
so let me slow that down right there because I think it's a
Hmm.
really important fact.
Hmm.
So, as I told you, children and families are identified to be part of our program because they face a lot of challenges, and Bronte is no exception. Jourdan has a really hard time connecting with mom regularly to see Bronte on the regular, and she'll often go dark and not respond. Jourdan, can you explain a little bit about what the challenges are, why you think mom would struggle to respond, and what we do, what we call relentless engagement? We don't give up on our families. We keep showing up for them. So can you describe a bit like what are the challenges that mom's facing, and what does relentless engagement look like from you and from others on our team?
Absolutely, Tal. As you stated, sometimes there are challenges. And, not just with Bronte, but the kids that we serve, they face the most adverse, challenging experiences. So in Bronte's case, like you said, he has a mom, a single mom, a family of five. He's the oldest. And unfortunately, his mom is in and out of work sometimes. So when they do go ghost, it's never on purpose. It's because of the phone is off, or she's busy at work right now, or she's in between jobs, or he's away with his grandmother on the west side, but he lives on the south side. Um, him transitioning to different schools because of the living situations, right? Being in this field is never nothing personal. It's always what they have going on inside their life and the challenging situations with his uh due to work. And then his father. Unfortunately, his father is incarcerated for life. And he doesn't have a stable male figure in his life. And being that I'm the foundation, relentless engagement looks like if I can't see him, I'm sending sticky notes on the door. I'm going right by there, knocking on the door, um, leaving letters and mails inside the mailbox, calling grandmother, anything that I can do to, get in contact with him. And they will always return the phone call. Like I told Tal earlier, I stopped by there this morning, dropping off things that I got from Faces. Because they just had a newborn as well. So those are some of the challenges that we may face, Tal. But it's a beautiful thing of the consistency of being engaged with them and building that trust and building that rapport with the family.
So two things I just want to point out that you brought up. So one, the children and families in our program tend to move a lot. They move a lot
Yeah.
because of caregiver instability, because of housing insecurity, and because of interpersonal or community violence. We are not a place-based organization. We are a person-based organization. And so as long as they move within a 25-mile radius, we'll follow them wherever they go. So Bronte usually is based on the south side, but if he's with grandma on the west side or somewhere else, Jourdan will go see him wherever he is. The other thing, Jourdan just referred to our FACES. FACES stands for our Family and Community Engagement Specialists. And so their job is to work closely with parents and caregivers and to connect them to other resources that are available. So our FACES, our Family and Community Engagement Specialists, have worked with Bronte's mom to help her secure employment, to help her get food, and to help her get clothing and supplies for the new baby.
Yeah.
So all of that comes in addition to what Jourdan is doing specifically with Bronte. Let's just do one more question about Bronte. So the first thing that a professional mentor does anytime they're on an outing with a child is to make sure that their overall well-being, that they're okay, that they're physically okay, and that they're emotionally okay. Is the child hungry? Is the child upset? Because it doesn't matter what Jourdan or any of our professional mentors have planned, they first tend to that child's just overall well-being. We don't have a curriculum that we follow and shove down their throats. We just love on the children and make sure that they're okay. We'll get into how you help children regulate and calm down with the next child we talk about. But once a child is calmed down and physically and emotionally well, we have 5 focus areas that we work on with our early elementary kids. Self-awareness, team of support, goal setting, building independent skills, and literacy development. So for Bronte, I just want to talk one moment. If you can give an example. So the building independent skill you're working with him on right now is helping him learn how to tie his shoes.
Absolutely.
So can you describe to us, like, what does an outing look like with him, and how's that process going, and how's he responding to learning how to tie his shoes?
Absolutely. As you stated, one of our goals for the building independence is for him to learn how to tie his shoe on his own. And for that, one of the things I use this book. It's a book by Paw Patrol, and it has a shoe with shoelaces right on the cover. So I use that to kind of use our literacy development as well as we learn and as we read step by step on how to tie his shoe, but then also, pivoting and doing it not only on the book, but he's also doing it on himself and with me or his team of support and one of his other friends that's inside the program. That's been going well. He's on step 3. He hasn't mastered that yet. But we're also working on, as we talk about him moving from house to house, right? Of him learning his address, right? So he can also know where he lives. And how do we practice that? We practice that by also incorporating literacy development by writing and learning how to write his address, and memorizing that. So those are some of the things that we may do on the outing, but just to pivot on just building independence.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. I'd like to shift to talk about Emmett. Emmett, I believe, is 6 years old and going into first grade,
That is
right?
correct. He
Can
just
you tell us
graduated.
just, and he was referred to us through the foster care system. He's a ward of the state. Can
Yes.
you tell us a little bit about Emmett? Who is he? What does he like to do?
Emmett he's just going into first grade. He just graduated. But out of all my kids, I'm not gonna, lie. Emmett is special only because Emmett was the very first kid that we enrolled when I first got here almost 3 years ago. Very first kid. And we have a special bond because he was the very first kid and we've grown together, right? We're almost knowing him for 3 years and being there and supportive of him. He's a kid that loves superheroes. Spider-Man, Black Panther is his thing. And, as you stated, Tal, when you first meet a kid of just meeting them where they're at, you may have this drawn out outing plan, but also meeting him where he's at. And he loves superheroes. So I incorporate all of our focus areas into the superheroes. He also likes nature, being outside, learning about animals and dinosaurs. Those are his sparks.
Um, Fantastic. Thank you for that. Um, Emmett struggles with behavior, right? Like he has a lot of emotions, a lot of anger.
Yeah.
Um, and you have a relationship with his teacher. Like she lets you know. Can you talk a little bit about your relationship with the teacher, how she lets you know what's going on in the classroom, and then how you support him with his feelings and his behavior?
Absolutely. As you stated, at times, um, Emmett has challenges with learning how to control his temper at times. As you stated, he's also a ward of the state, so um, his caregivers they also work with me side by side on his behavior, and then his teachers as well. Just learning how to respond to no. Sometimes he may ask for something and may not get his way, and as he's growing into a young boy, he may throw temper tantrums. So some of the things that I may incorporate for him to do, so focus on self-awareness is learning how to respond by deep breathing, learning some deep breathing exercises. Sometimes when he may get angry, instead of lashing out and showing positive anger expression by sometimes may drawing, what is his safe place, right? Helping him calm down and just regulate himself on his own, which is also a building independent skill, right? So he can do that on his own as well. But the teacher may call me or text me, and not just on bad things, right? Always telling me about the good things that, you know what, Jordan, last week he had a rough week, but I don't know what you guys worked on. The following week, he responded a lot differently. And knowing that progress is a process and it's going to take steps, right? So working with him diligently, not only with the caregivers, but also beside the school and the families. So being all connected so we can have that synergy and helping Elijah when he's needed.
And one of the things that you told me, in addition to the breathing exercise, you realized that he really likes drawing, that drawing calms him
Mhm.
down. And what, like, tell me about you shared with me, there's this really beautiful, like what he likes to draw and
Yeah.
like why right. Yeah. So tell me about that.
So Elijah, as you stated, is a ward of the state, and he's always been, moving from this apartment to that apartment. And one of the things I focus on is drawing a safe place. What does a safe place look like for you, Elijah? What does that even look like? And he may draw a house and his own room and his Spider-Man room, because that's what he feels like is a safe place. Right before this summer started, thankfully, him and his family moved into their first house. So what he drew became his reality right before this summer. He moved into his own house. It's not an apartment. He has his own room, his own Spider-Man room. And everything is just coming into place. So it's it's kind of crazy how that kind of worked out, right? But that's what he drew as his safe place, and now he has one.
Um, Fantastic. Thank you.
Mhm.
Right. So his foster parents just became his legal guardians,
That's
and they're
correct.
in a safe home. And
Yeah.
our family community engagement specialists are giving a lot of support to his his caregivers, and they attend our caregiver cafes and are taking advantage of the resources that we have. We promise you all that this is just a half-hour gathering. He did manifest that house. That's right, Christian.
Yeah.
We love so much. Jourdan, someone just texted me to ask, can you talk about what training you receive? Like, how do you know what to do with the kids, and what type of support do you get as a professional mentor?
Absolutely. Thank you. As you stated, we're just not right volunteers, we're professional mentors. And, I had the privilege of being in this field for about 15 years. But as far as FOTC specifically, the training we have before you even see a kid or touch a kid, we had to read multiple books to learn how to help dysregulate kids and learn how to talk to kids so kids will listen, right? Not just putting our own impressions on them, but learning how to meet them where they're at. Also, Friends of Children is a national organization, so we also had national training that we had to attend. Also, learning emotional intelligence and learning different ways to incorporate literacy development as well. So, uh, Tall had I want to say Taal had we had a Dr. Chase come in and help us with our literacy and had like 5 days literally of training of learning how different ways to incorporate literacy with our youth. And then also Taal put in place as well of having a counselor come in and stand by for mentors so they can kind of dysregulate themselves when needed as well. But as far as training, we had to read about 4 or 5 books prior to seeing kids and also learning how to schedule. You're also dealing with eight kids and 8 boys with 8 different personalities and 8 different families. So learning how to of that in a schedule on a week-to-week basis. Um, it's putting in learning new systems and putting them in place so they can be effective. Again, the kids that we serve are the kids that face the most adverse childhood experiences. So, their life always switches day to day and just being in contact with them. But as far as specific training, we had training on books and then also national training as well before we can even see a kid. I think when I enrolled Emmett, it was 3 months into me being with friends already. So those are some of the trainings that we had to do as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jourdan. I'm
Mhm.
hopping in because Tal had to jump off momentarily. We
Mhm.
still have a few minutes here. Any questions that folks have, you're welcome to come off mute or add your question in the chat. Any questions, folks? If we have no questions, I'll fill in with a question of my own. Jourdan, can you share with us a little bit more about like some of the outings that you go on and like what dictates? I mean, you talked a little bit about the skill building and things like
Mhm.
that, but how lately have you been working to develop outings for your portfolio of kids
Mhm.
specifically, and what does that look like?
Yeah, awesome. Great question, Jen. Part of one of my outings and go-tos that I usually go to is big for me to be a part of the community. And one thing that I pride myself on with my kids is, not just going to the park or going to the museum, but also being attached to the community. So we may go to the library, and the stigma around the library, could be false because you just think about books. But there's other things that you can do inside the library and gain that team of support. My kids know all the librarians that's there, and they also have different clubs on different days and different activities in the library. So it can be art club, nature day, garden club. My kids go to the garden that's inside the library and they learn how to plant. So these are some of the things that we may do on an outing. And again, it's based on the kid and whatever their spark is. But within the library, you can do many things, right? And then after you leave the library, you can go to that park and work on, one of their goals of achieving the monkey bars, right? Or leaving the library and going to that museum. But finding a way to incorporate community and engagement also with literacy and self-awareness as well.
Awesome. I appreciate you sharing that.
Mhm.
We have a question here that asks why 12 and a half years and not 12 or 13? Really, the long and short is that we follow kids from pre-K all the way through high school graduation. So I'm guessing that that half is sparked from our data. We have a lot.
Yeah,
Because of our national network, we have the privilege of having had longitudinal data and reporting done to really track outcomes based on these long-term consistent relationships. And
yeah,
so that 0.5 feels
yeah,
tied to the data. But really, the long and short is that pre-K to high school graduation with some, extra time and consideration before and after that, as far
yeah,
as the growth and depth of the relationship
yeah.
too.
And I would definitely say, Jen, with that, enrollment between the ages of 4 and 6, right? We start them
Absolutely.
between the ages of 4 and 6. So being with them for that 12 and a half years, it could be for the 4-year-old for 12 and a half years or the 6-year-old that's enrolled for 12 and a half years. So
Mhm.
kind of give you that little extra edge.
Absolutely. And Jeannie, also thank you for your notes here about uh, to your and Jordan's point of identifying kids in the spring and then working to build those relationships and really get things moving towards enrollment.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, we are coming up close here to the end of our half hour. Any last thoughts or questions as we tie things up here?
Please, please. Yeah.
Well, we definitely appreciate everyone joining us. Jordan, thank you so much for sharing the stories about your youth in particular. Definitely appreciate that and sharing about your personal experience with mentorship and your work with us at Friends Chicago. For all of our attendees, we have been recording this session and we'll follow up with an email so that if you want to share this with friends or other folks that you know to have them learn more about our work, we'll have those details in an email follow-up. And if you want to get more involved in our work, we are more than happy to find a best fit to see how to get you, more informed and engaged in the work that we do with our kids and our families, with our professional mentors. So,
Absolutely.
any last thoughts from you, Jordan? I don't want to be the
No.
only one talking here as we wrap things
No,
up.
thank you. I appreciate it, Jen. No, I was just going to say thank you all for the time and the space, for allowing me to speak on my kids and speak my truth, and learn more about our organization. So thank you all. By all means, my info, Jen, by all means, please give them if you have any questions or comments. I'm always a text or call away. You know where I'm at. I'm right here in Friends. So thank you all for your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, folks. Have a great day, and thanks again for joining us.